Good morning, children. In this video, we are going to start with our next chapter of English grammar, which is degrees of comparison. In the chapter before this, we did adjectives. Now we are going to study degrees of comparison. You already have studied degrees of comparison in class 5 as well. So this is also going to be a revision more or less, but we are going to study some new rules over here. So let me start with the basic introduction of the chapter. So what is degrees of comparison? Degrees of comparison are used when we compare one person or thing with another. When you compare people or when you compare things, it can be two or more than two, then we use degrees of comparison. Let's understand with an example how we use it. So I see a child over here. Ryan is a tall child. Tall is underlined. So tall is the adjective for Ryan. Tall is the positive degree. See, it's written positive degree is used to tell us about a quality of a person or a thing. So only when we talk about one person or one thing, we use the positive degree. Over here I say Ryan is a tall child. So because we are giving the quality of Ryan that he is tall, so tall is used in the positive degree. Next, there are two girls over here. Max is taller than Joe. So Max is this girl who's the taller one and this is Joe. What does it say? Max is taller than Joe. This is the comparative degree. This is used to compare two people or things with each other. So when you're comparing two people or two things, okay, not more than two. When only two things or two people are being compared, we use the comparative degree. That is why two girls are being compared over here. Max is taller than Joe. So taller is the comparative degree. We'll understand one more. Now here there is a group of children. Emily is the tallest in the group. Now this girl, this tall one over here, her name is Emily and it says Emily is the tallest in the group. So that means she is the tallest of all the others. Let's see. Superlative degree is used when more than two people and things are compared to one another. So here tallest is the superlative degree of tall. Why is it superlative? Because we are comparing more than two. When you're making comparison between two or when you're making comparison between two people or two things, you use the comparative degree. But when you're making comparisons between more than two people or more than two things, you use the superlative degree. And when we use the positive degree, we are not making any comparisons. We're just talking about the qualities of one person or of one thing. Let's move on from here. We're going to study some rules for forming comparative and superlative degrees of adjectives. Children, this is also something that you already have studied in class 5. So when I explain this to you, this is going to be a recap for all of you. That the rules that we follow for making comparatives and superlatives. I've taken all these from your books, one rule at one time. Okay, let's read this. Most adjectives form their comparative degree by adding er and their superlative degree by adding est to the positive degree. So the example we did now, tall, taller, tallest, that also follows the same rule. That in the positive degree, if we add er, we get the comparative degree. When we add est, we get the superlative degree. Let's see the examples here. Small, smaller, smallest. So er and est is added to make comparative and superlative degree. Kind, kinder, kindest. Dark, darker, darkest. Quiet, quieter, quietest. So in all these words, we are adding er and est. There are many more words of this kind here. Only 4 of the examples have been mentioned. This is your first rule. Second rule is, if the positive degree ends in e, we add only r and st to form the comparative and superlative degree. So if the adjective in the positive degree, if the adjective already has e at the end, then we will not add another e. We will only add r for making it comparative and we will add only st to make it superlative. Why? Because the word already has an e at the end. Did you understand? Because the word is already ending with an E, we will not add another E. We will just add R or ST, depending on whether we are making it comparative or whether we are making it superlative. These two are the simple rules. So more examples of this kind is dense, denser, densest, white, whiter, whitest, safe, safer, safest, noble, nobler, and noblest. See, in all these words, the adjective in the positive degree already has an E, so we are not adding another E. We'll move on to the next rule. Let's read this. When the positive degree ends in Y preceded by a consonant, the Y is changed into I before adding ER and EST. So if you have an adjective, the last letter of the adjective, if it is a Y, and before the last letter, if you have a consonant. What a consonant? Apart from vowels, all the other 21 letters that we have are known as consonants. Okay, vowels are A, E, I, O, U. Apart from that, whatever you have, they are all consonants. So before the Y, if you have a consonant, then in the comparative degree, you will remove the Y and you will add I-E-R. In the superlative degree, you will remove the Y, you will add I-E-S-T. So when you change happy to happier and happiest, the word Y is not used anymore. Y is replaced with I. Similarly, holy becomes holier, holiest, where Y changes to I and then we add ER or EST. Noisy becomes noisier, noisiest. Silly becomes sillier, silliest. Busy is busier, busiest. Dirty is dirtier, dirtiest. See, in all these adjectives, the letter before Y is a consonant. It is not a vowel. Like for holy, L is a consonant. Noisy, S is a consonant. Silly, again L is a consonant. Busy, S is a consonant. Dirty, T is a consonant. So whenever you have a consonant followed by a Y, you will remove the Y, you will replace it with an I-E-R. For comparative, you will do that. For superlative, it will be I-E-S-T. Now there's an exception over here. Let's read that. If the Y has a vowel before it, it is not changed into I. Now in this rule, what did I tell you? If the Y has a consonant before it, then we change the Y to I. But if the Y does not have a consonant, if the Y has a vowel before it, that is, if Y has either A, E, I, O, U before it, then we will not change the Y. We will just simply add ER or EST, but we will not change the Y. The Y will stay as it is. Examples over here, grey becomes grayer, greyest. See over here, the alphabet before Y is E, because E is a vowel, so we don't change the Y to I. We just add ER to make it grayer and we add only EST to make it greyest. Similarly, gay means happy. Before Y there is A. A is a vowel, so we don't change the Y. We just add ER in the comparative and ES in the superlative degree. I hope this rule is clear. So we'll move on to the next rule over here. Let's read. To form the comparative degree and superlative degree of adjectives having a single syllable and ending in a single consonant preceded by a short vowel, the consonant is doubled before adding ER and EST. So this rule has some parts that I need to explain to all of you so that you can understand it. Firstly, I will explain to you what is a syllable. Okay, syllable is a unit of pronunciation. So if I say small, when I say the word small, see O, there is only one pronunciation O. So there is only one syllable. Alright. If I say pencil, pencil, so it's pen, a, sil, e. So there are two syllables. Pencil has two syllables. Small has only one syllable. If I say water, so it's wa, o, and ter, So two syllables for water again. So it is the unit of pronunciation. How many pronunciations are coming in a word? If I tell you Glass. So only one unit. So one syllable. See, let's see the words over here. Big. E. One syllable. Fat. That's a. Again one syllable. Wet. A. Single syllable again. Sad. Only one syllable. Hot. That's O. Only one syllable. Thin. E. Again one syllable. So it is the unit of pronunciation. I told you water, so wa and two syllables. That is how you have this rule. The rule which we are going to discuss over here. This is about the adjectives that have only one syllable, like these words: big, fat, wet, etc. These words over here. And then what does it say? Having a single syllable and ending in a single consonant. Ending in a single consonant. The last letter of the word has to be only one consonant, preceded by a short vowel. So, it is talking about those adjectives which have only one syllable. The last letter is a consonant, a single consonant, and the consonant has a vowel before it. Understood? Single syllable, last letter being a consonant, and the letter before the last consonant has to be a vowel. Whenever you have such adjectives, what will we do? In the comparative, we will double the last consonant. So whatever letter is forming the last consonant, you will double it and you will add er. For superlative, you will double the last consonant and you will add est. Let's see the examples which will make it clear. Big, bigger, biggest. See, big has the last consonant G. In comparative degree, we double it. So we make double G. Then we add ER, so it becomes bigger. Superlative degree, we make it double G and then we add EST. So we get biggest. Similarly, fat, fatter, fattest. See, we are doubling the last consonant, adding ER and then EST in superlative. Wet, wetter, wettest. Sad, sadder, saddest. Hot, hotter, hottest. Thin, thinner, thinnest. See, in all these examples, we are doubling the last consonant and we are adding ER and EST in the comparative and superlative. Be very careful. These consonants are preceded by vowels. See, the letter before the consonant has to be a vowel. If there is no vowel, then this rule will not be followed. Be very clear. Single syllable, last letter has to be a consonant. Before the consonant, you have to have a vowel. I hope once you do some exercises, then this will become more clear to you. Let's move on to the next rule. This is also in your book. Many adjectives of more than 3 syllables form their comparatives by adding the word more before the positive, and the superlatives by adding the word most before the positive. Now in some words which have more than 3 syllables, I told you what is syllable. Syllable is a unit of pronunciation. Let's see the examples here. Difficult. See, D, F, cult. 3 syllables are here. Enjoyable. 4 syllables are over here. Forgetful. So forgetful. 3. Wonderful. Again, 3 syllables are over here. So such adjectives which have 3 or more than 3 syllables, they form their comparatives by adding more before the positive degree, and they form the superlative by adding most before the positive degree. So difficult becomes more difficult and most difficult. Enjoyable becomes more enjoyable or most enjoyable. Forgetful becomes more forgetful, most forgetful. Wonderful becomes more wonderful and most wonderful. I hope this rule is also clear. Some adjectives form their comparatives and superlatives in an irregular way. They do not follow any rule. Now here we are going to talk about some adjectives which don't follow any rule at all. They completely change into different words when they are making their comparative or superlative degree. Let's look at these words. Some of this you already know. See, good becomes better and best. So when we have better and best, are we taking any letters from good? Are we taking anything from good? No. So these such words over here, such examples which are given over here, they don't follow any rule. Good becomes better, best. Many becomes more and most. Much also becomes more and most. We will discuss the difference between many and much. Bad becomes worse and worst. Late becomes later. It can also become latter. And in the superlative degree, it becomes latest or last. Old becomes older or elder in the comparative, and oldest and eldest in the superlative. We are going to discuss this more in details. Let's understand the difference between many and much. I've taken all this from your book. You will find everything in the PDF of the book that I have shared with you. Much means a large quantity of. It is used with uncountables. So much talks about quantity. Whenever you have a noun which you cannot count, like if I say water, or if I say milk, or if I say sugar or salt, these things which you cannot count, we use much with it. Many means a large number of. It is used with plurals of countables. Now many talks about number of something. So it is used with nouns that you can count. So countable nouns. There is much ink in the bottle. Why have I written much over here? Because obviously you cannot count ink. You can count a bottle, but you cannot count the ink in the bottle. So ink is uncountable noun. So we use much. I need many cartons for these books. Many cartons, you can count cartons. Cartons are those boxes within which you can put your things. So I need many cartons for these books. You can count those cartons. It is a countable noun. So we use the adjective many with it. See, much goes with uncountable noun. Many goes with countable noun. However, in the comparative and superlative degree, they use the same words, which is more and most. This is the difference between many and much. Good, better, best you already know. So now we will. So good, better, best you know, and you also know bad, worse, worst. We will understand the difference between later, latter, latest and last now. Let's see what we have. Later and latest refer to time. See, later is comparative degree of late and latest is superlative degree of late. And these refer to time. So whenever you're talking about time, in terms of time if you're talking, we say later and latest. Whereas latter and last refer to position. We are talking about the position of something or some person, we use latter and last. For example, I will come later. I will come later means what? I'll come after some time. So we are referring to time. And this is comparative degree of late. I do not have the latest news. Latest news means the freshest news, the fresh news that we have, right? So I do not have the latest news. Latest also refers to time. This is the superlative of late. The last chapter is not very well written. Last chapter. See, we are talking about the position of the chapter. What is the position of the chapter in the book? Last. This is again superlative of late, but over here we are not referring to time. We are referring to the position of the chapter. The former is efficient, but the latter is not. Former means the first, latter means what comes after that. So the former is efficient. Efficient means good, but the latter is not. The latter is not efficient. Okay. Latter means something which comes after. So later, latter, latest and last, these are all forms of late, but later and latest refers to time, whereas latter and last, these refer to the position of something or someone. Now we will understand the difference between older, elder and oldest, eldest. Let's see. Elder and eldest are used only for persons. Elder and eldest are only for when you are referring to human beings. You will use the word elder and eldest. Mostly with reference to members of the same family. Mostly when will we use it? When we are talking about people of the same family, we are going to use elder and eldest. Elder is comparative, eldest is superlative. We do not use these words with animals or things. But if you're talking about animals or if you're talking about non-living things, then we don't use elder and eldest. In that case, we use older or oldest. Older and oldest can be used with reference to both persons and things. So see, older and oldest you can use for human beings as well as you can also use for non-living things. But the word elder and eldest can only be used for living beings. It cannot be used for non-living beings or animals. Be very clear. Elder, eldest only for human beings, whereas older and oldest can be used for human beings as well as for non-living things. Also, you have to keep in mind that when you're talking about members of the same family, you will use elder and eldest. Let's look at some examples here. I will speak to my elder brother. See, brother is somebody of the same family, so we use elder, not older. Ravi is the eldest son. Again, son, member of the same family, so we say eldest. This is the oldest church in the city. Church is a non-living thing, right? So we use oldest, not eldest. Karan is the oldest member of the group. So I told you older and oldest can be used with human beings as well as non-living things. Now Karan is the oldest member of the group. If you are a member of a group, you're not a family member. You're just a member of a group. In that case, I will use oldest. Understood? Because you're not talking about a family. We're just talking about any random group. Also, we do not use the word than after elder. We don't say elder than, we say elder to. If I have to say I am elder to her, I'll say I am elder to her, not than her. I am elder than her is wrong English. We will say I am elder to her. Or she is elder to me. Anything. Understood? This is elder and eldest. There's one more thing that we'll understand. Farther and further. There are two words. One is farther, other is further. So far, if you have the adjective far, it can be farther and farthest. So comparative can be farther, superlative can be farthest, or it can also be comparative can be further, superlative can be furthest. Let's understand the difference between farther and further. Farther denotes distance between 2 points, while further means additional. Note the difference. So farther is when you talk about the distance. When you're referring to distance between two places, you use the word farther. But further means just going beyond something, adding up to something. So if I say let us walk a little farther, that means little farther. We are referring to distance. Let us walk more. We will have no further discussion on this. No further discussion, that means nothing will be added. No more discussion added. This is the difference between farther and further. So far can be farther, farthest, or it can be further, furthest. One more. Nearest denotes nearness in space or distance, while next denotes order or position. So when I say nearest, I talk about the distance. This is the nearest shop to my house, so it is near in terms of the position. If I say let's move to the next chapter, I'm talking about the next chapter in order. There is no distance in case of that. Let's read example over here. I walk to the nearest post office. So nearest post office is denoting distance. She sat next to me. That means she sat just beside me. Okay. So nearest denotes distance, whereas next just denotes order or sequence of something. These are all the rules that we will cover today. After this, you have exercise A on page number 53. Let's see what we have to do here. Fill in the blanks with appropriate form of adjectives given in the brackets. Now, over here you have 12 sentences. The adjectives are given over here in the bracket. You have to use the correct form of these adjectives. So this is the dash problem of this exercise. I can say this is the most difficult problem of this exercise. I can use the superlative degree over here. Similarly, you have to solve the remaining sentences. Your homework is that you will do this exercise in your rough copy. Only exercise A, you will do it in the rough copy. Watch this video carefully, understand all the rules. This exercise is based on all the rules that I've just described to all of you right now. And then do this in your rough copy. When we meet in the next class, I'll give you the answers of this exercise. Thank you.